All right. So here in the next couple of videos, we're going to go through setting up a render in Maya and then fixing the render or continuing the render, polishing it up in post in Nuke. Okay, to do that, the important thing is you have to know how to output AOVs, or in the other software they call it render passes or render layers. But AOV is a common way of referring to it. Arbitrary output variables. Okay, so basically these are the channels that you would want to include in your file so that you can then individually edit them when you get to Noom. All right, so I have a simple scene, like a diner-like environment here. All right, if I look at the render, this is what it looks like. It's a bit grainy. I just lowered uh, the samplings just so it would render a bit faster. But normally you would turn up the samplings to get rid of this noise. Okay, but you can see here I have sunlight from outside, and I think I have a dome light also to get some fill bounce light. I have neon lights here. I have a couple lights recessed here in the back. Okay. And what we want to do is we want to render this broken up into AOVs. All right. And you would do that here in your render settings. Here you have an AOV tab, right? And in this column, the left-hand side, you have a list of all the available AOVs. And what you do is you just pick what you want and then click this arrow to transfer them over here into the active AOVs. Right? Before you do that, always make sure in the common tab, merge AOVs is checked. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a bunch of different images. Okay, so if I got 5 AOVs, you would end up with 6 images. So basically, the beauty render plus the other 5 AOVs. If you do this, say merge AOVs, all of the AOVs are going to be included as separate channels in a single OpenEXR file, which is uh, most commonly the preferred way of working. Okay, so we're sure that this is checked, so that's okay. And let's see, what do we want? Normally, your bare minimum is diffuse, uh, direct, indirect, opacity if you have any. Sorry, transparency if you have any. Um, I don't think I have subsurface scattering, so that's not needed. Specular, and let's see. I might have emission, just in case. Not sure. Right, so these are all here listed now. If I go back and look at my render, I can see the different AOVs here. So I have a diffuse pass, direct pass, emission. So I don't need emissions. Indirect, still working, and the specular pass. Okay. All right. So we have all of those. And then you would also need the cryptomats. That is down here. It's crypto asset, material, and object. So these are ways of creating masks. So you would use them in Nuke or other software where you can make selections based on these. So you can make a selection based on, for example, the materials, right? So if I go back here, I look at the crypto assets. There's material. So every material has a unique color. Then object, right? And then asset. So you would have separate images. So, sorry, separate colors. in this image. And then you would use this in Nuke to isolate your selections. Let's say you only want to adjust diffuse, but you only want to adjust the diffuse of this lamp. Then you could use crypto object to isolate this and then do your edits only on that. Okay. Now, additionally, what you can do is you could make AOVs per light. That's not available by default, but it's easy enough to make. Okay, here you have your custom AOVs, right? So you just say add custom. And what you do here is you give it a name. So I'll click that, give it a name. So let's say I want to make an AOV for the sky dome light. So I'll just type in RGBA underscore sky, right? And I hit create. And then I go to the light that I want to be the contributing light for this AOV, which would be the sky dome. Go to its attributes, scroll down. Under AOV light group, I type this. So sky, right? Now when I do my render, I have RGBA sky, and you see it only gives me the lighting information from the sky. Okay, so if I were to keep going, I'd say add custom, and let's say RGBA sun. I would look for my directional light, which is what stands in for my sun. Go to my Arnold section and type in sun. Okay, and then I would do for these area lights at the back, and then for this neon sign. Let's add custom, let's say RGBA, wall light 1, right? And then this light is what we're going to say is wall light 1. Wall light 1. You have to make sure they match. That's case sensitive. Okay, add custom RGBA, wall light 2. Then I go to this other one and just say wall light 2. Then I want to go for the neon lights. So here in my neon, okay. So again, add custom RGBA neon uh, neon word. Okay, so I can just copy this over just to make sure it's correct. Great. And then I can go there, make sure that's correct there. RGBA. And then this would be neon frame. Just grab the neon frame. And for this other light, use that. Okay. So now, if we check our renders and everything went well, I should be able to see the individual contributions of each light. There you go. My sky, my sun, my wall light 1, wall light 2. Okay. So now, aside from being able to adjust your specular, diffuse settings, your indirect lights, you can adjust per light. Okay, so you can make some lights brighter or dimmer or change the color without having to re-render. That's the beauty of this. Always the advantage of this is you want to be able to do as much as you can in post without having to go back and re-rendering anything because it's always going to take longer in 3D, right? So we have everything set up and we want to render this now. So everything's there. I'm going to set up my render to render one frame, and then you do a batch render or a render sequence. Okay, the reason you do that is if you just render this and you save it, right? You could save multilayer EXR, but sometimes it doesn't always save the AOVs. So I usually just do a batch render of a single frame. Okay. And once that's done, we can get going and move on to the second part, which is in Nuke.